Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Check out the hockeybettingpodcast.ca. We got a number of books that have joined up with us and have incredible sign-up offers for you to play hockey with that first deposit. Get on board. Go to the hockeybettingpodcast.ca. Click the link, sign up, and have some fun with us.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast with your hosts, Brian Blessing in Las Vegas and Cam Stewart in Toronto. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. And now live from Las Vegas, your host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, kids, here we go. We're going to fire away on the Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing, Cam Stewart, glad to be with you. I'm in Vegas, Cam, just southwest of Toronto in the beautiful burb of Mississauga. Interesting week, Cam. A week and a half ago, we hit the speed bump. I thought last week was a very good week. Early start of this week was pretty good, too. Hey, tell me one thing. Honest to God, I swear. Tell me, did you listen? Did I talk you off Montreal? Because I would have been happier that I talked you off Montreal than me winning a bet. I mean, did you at least play the under or name Montreal against Vancouver?
Yeah, I know. I played the under and I lost in a shootout because of a parlay. So I told you I went
Montreal?
on the show. Yeah. I like Montreal. They were leading the whole game. Anyway, I'm on them again tonight. But anyway, I don't want to get into this with you. But yeah, we just had Dave Sher. Yeah, we just had Dave Sherapin on. I know you know him. He knows who you are from Vegas.
Yeah.
He's a regular guest with me and Morency now, and we've documented this. And I told Dave, I go, I'm still plus money betting hockey, and I'm in the last 15, 1 for 14 in shootouts and overtime, and we're still up money on the year. So you go figure how crazy that is. And he even said, oh, my God, if you're like 40%, you'd be killed. I go, yeah, that's kind of what I talk to Blessing about every day. But I was on the under in that Montreal game. We got snake-bitten. I thought the Kings got robbed the game before. They had a disallowed goal, which was crap, and then they came back, and then they lost in overtime. But, Brian, hey, good start to the week, new day. I've been taking Minnesota, and you know what I mean? We just got to keep on grinding.
Hey, full disclosure, we're taping this, Wednesday night late, and we're waiting for the Montreal-Vancouver game to actually get started. The one thing I'm telling you, Cam, the way you want to play this game in all sports, when in sports betting, you want to get on top of something and in front of it, and then you got to know when to get off it. But we'll see. But at the moment, my point is, for a while, watch out for Vancouver, because Thatcher Demko is playing the way he played in the bubble, which was lights out.
We talked about it today. I agree. I still think Montreal is the right side, but yeah, no, he almost won that series against Vegas. And hey, what can I say? Carey Price actually played good too. Brian, we're going to give him a little bit of credit. Sure. It was a 1-0 game. Vancouver tied it up. We were all over the under, and I'm going to say the zigzag total theory, I don't think really necessarily works with a hot goaltender.
No, not in this one.
That's the thing. I like the under. If by the time we tape this game,
right.
You give me 6.5 with Montreal, Vancouver, I'm all over.
No, I played the under. I couldn't believe they made it 6.
I couldn't believe
I thought it was going to be 5.5 under 30. I mean, now we don't know what the score is going to be, but that's the other thing. You're sitting there, jumping at the opportunity when you think what you get is a soft number. Let's see if we can't find a few of those, Cameron. We're going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and let's have add a little bit of Gatling gun action. Let's go with Washington at Philly on Thursday, and we're looking at a pick either way. I told you I would never bet the Sabres again as long as I'm alive, but I did say there was just something about that matchup with Philly. They chased Hart. They had the over in that game, and that was without Eichel. I wonder if they come back with Elliott here, because Hart's been running really hot and cold.
He's been running more cold than hot, too.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Philadelphia, I would take Elliott. Hart even called himself out. He's like, I don't know what the heck's going on. I just don't have my game right now. And that's a concern for the Philadelphia Flyers. And they just haven't been a good team generally. Sure, you beat the Sabres, but big deal. Buffalo could have won that game. And I find it interesting that Eichel doesn't play, and then they play one of their better games, Brian. They don't get any goaltenders. So sometimes we talk about it. When the stars aren't there, all the rest of the guys on the team get galvanized. And I'll tell you, if I had a guy on my team who's got 1 foot out the door, what do you call it? 1 foot out the door, one on a banana peel. He wants the hell out of Buffalo. I'll tell you one thing. We'll get out. We'll be fine. I know this team's going to be breaking up. They got bad contracts, and the way I see it is, if you're not with us, you're against us. And I think that's the way Buffalo is going to feel in these games. And they're going to win eventually. But it's until Allmark comes back, they're a hard team to back. You just take the over because they can score goals and give up goals.
Cammy, Florida and Columbus, $1.35, Florida on the road, totals 5.5 to the under. We're getting to Fisher cut bait time here, aren't we? A little bit on the Columbus side of the equation here. I mean, it's not hideous. I mean, they're breathing. They're 6 points behind the Blackhawks for the 4th spot in the Central, even up in terms of games in hand. So that can be made up. But 3-6-1 in their last 10. Florida's 5-3-2 in their last 10. And even though that's nothing to write home about, just look at the difference. Is good teams, even in a cold snap, those 2 overtime losses are 2 points.
Yeah, and the thing about Florida is they're the real deal. Like, you look at this team, and sometimes they don't even put their best foot forward, and I've been very impressed with them, Brian. They just find ways, right? As for Columbus, I don't know, man. We talked about it, and if anyone was listening, we talked about I thought Dubois would be better for the Jets, and this Laine thing ain't going to work with Tortorella. It's just they're a team, Columbus, that they still get good goaltending. They just don't score enough, Brian, and it's kind of disappointing. You look at the Atkinsons of the world, and this team really hasn't stepped up, and they're a hard team to back. Yeah, they can win some games, but it's hard to go against Florida, right? Like, Florida beat them the last time they play, and I don't really have a strong opinion, but Columbus is a hard team to back right now. That's all I'm going to say is they got problems, in my opinion.
All right, here's one, and I hope what the folks get listening to this, and hey, listen, don't forget, the hockeybettingpodcast.ca, you've got the books there with introductory offers, among them sportsinteraction.com/hipcheck, up to $125 sign-up bonus. Jump in, dive in, help us keep this thing rocking and rolling for you. I hope one of the things that people get out of this is just don't be blinded by power ratings. They're the between the lines things that we've identified, honestly, buddy, I think have been really, really good. The last game of a long road trip, teams mentally check out. We had that one. We had the Ottawa sitting in Calgary, waiting for Calgary after, Calgary's playing the Battle of Alberta, and it was life and death. Ottawa was up, blew it, but won the game in overtime. A little outside the box thinking. How about this other one we've identified, Bud? Winnipeg and Toronto. Toronto's $1.80. The total 6.5 to the under. And what I'm getting at is the game to start this series, Winnipeg comes in and wins, but they were coming off one of those massive beatdowns where you're embarrassed. They lost 7-1 to the Canadiens. How many times have we seen a team get drilled? 6-1, 7-1, 6-2.
Yep.
Come back the next night with professional pride and win. So that happened. Now it's the second game of the set. First one was 4-3. Do we come back with a tighter checking game today?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be under, and I like the Leafs. You don't want to lay $1.80 in that spot, so you can find a dance partner or take them in regulation. And for, we talk about the eye test. Winnipeg, sure, they played great that game, but Toronto threw everything at them at the end. They understand. And I told you, Brian, on the show, sometime day late, dollar short, but I said this Leafs run wouldn't last forever, and now basically what I've said, they lost 2 to Vancouver, they lose to Winnipeg. It's not this party all the time atmosphere now, too. Like, they're still a great team, but they're coming down to earth. But this is a game where I could tell now they're going to be fired up. I don't like the price, but we're here to pick winners, so I'm going to find a dance partner with Toronto, or I take them in regulation. I think the Leafs beat Winnipeg in a revenge spot.
Carolina is a 225 favorite against Nashville. The total's 5.5 to the over. There's one way to play this only. I don't know that I'm going to do it because we've seen this numerous times, Cam. I think the longest winning streak in the league this year is 6. I think several teams have gotten it to 6, and for whatever reason, 7 seems to be Mount Everest. They can't get that 7th win. That's happened several times. Vegas stubbed their toe. Minnesota recently stubbed their toe, had a shot at 7 in a row. Here's Carolina going for 7 in a row. They've won 6 in a row. It's buyer beware for me. I mean, you'd look at it and you'd say Carolina on the puck line, but they're due to lose.
They are due to lose. And the thing about it, though, is like Nashville, and they're a Jekyll and Hyde team, too. Like, you don't know what you're going to get with Nashville half the time. And Carolina comes back and beats these guys 3-2. Got to give Nashville full marks. They battled in that game, and they got it to overtime. But I'm going to tell you, Brian, I don't think Nashville's very good. They played a couple good games. And but Carolina, do you want to lay 220 here? What do we look at? There's 5 goals in the last game. Do we go over? I don't know what to do with this game. I think Carolina, though, I'm not going to just say I'm betting Nashville. Carolina is one of those teams that I think they probably weren't happy with the way they played against Nashville, and they're a better team. And them coming back and winning. They should be able to destroy these guys. I like Carolina here in a parlay, but I don't know what do you do with this game? You're more of a total guy. I don't know. I'm going to be honest.
I don't like it at all.
Doing this show is getting harder and harder.
I don't like this game.
The same damn teams all the time, and it's hard to predict now. Like there's certain spots that I like. Like last night, perfect example, smash Dallas. They didn't play well before. That's a good spot. But game 3 or 4 against the same team, I don't know if I'm going to come back to them against Chicago. That's the problem. Everything I'm looking at, it's Groundhog Day. It's the same damn teams, and it's hard to get a vibe in this stuff. But for me, I can't bet Nashville. I'll just tell you that.
I hear you. I mean, it's a small sample size, but for whatever reason, these teams can't get to the 7th game. Maybe you do take a little mini swing with Nashville, but I'm taking a pass. Listen, Jersey and the Islanders. Islanders are $2. The total's a mixed bag. We're seeing 5 over 30 or 5.5 under 40. We're seeing a couple of options here. I'm going to go with, I don't know if it's zigzag or contrarian or what it is, but the Islanders, good team when they play good teams, try to get the lead and shut it down. But I think the Islanders, when they're going against an inferior opponent, it's their opportunity to shine and let loose a little bit. I think this is a sneaky over game.
I agree with you. I'd also say watch out for New Jersey. They came back in their game the other night. They were left for dead. And the one thing about these guys is they battle. They lost to the Capitals 5-4 in overtime. They were down. They came back. I'd say be very careful with the Islanders. Brian, we were wrong. Let's be honest. Our team playing Buffalo theory, but how did we lose? Oh, yeah, we lost in a shootout.
In a shootout.
Boston. Yeah, no, and trust me, that game killed me. It cost me so much money. You have no idea. In every parlay, I had a great night. I had Dallas. All the other stuff clicked. And that I'm just sitting there going the same old thing. Oh, God, Cam, can't win a shootout. I tell people, it's like, no, it's real. It's a real thing. It's 1-14 in the last 15. I don't want to deal with this crap. I will say this. I think New Jersey could give the Islanders problems. I don't feel comfortable that the Islanders are just going to keep on winning and winning and winning. They got kind of lucky against Boston. So I'd be very careful with this game. I do lean over.
Okay, here we go. You ready? Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Tell me what we do.
Okay. Here. Pittsburgh's $1.80, $2.
Yep.
Total on the game is 6. I'll say over for starters because you don't know if you're getting Johansson or Hutton, whatever. I mean, right there's a starting point. I would say this to you, Cam, but Buffalo should have beat Philly. They're playing god-awful.
They should have.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is the first game with fans at a Buffalo game. These people are going to boo these guys mercilessly. Is it Pittsburgh on the puck line?
I don't know. Maybe you look at the other way. Maybe Buffalo gets inspired by the boos and actually shows up and win a damn game. They were close the last time. I don't know what to do with this game. I'm not laying it on Pittsburgh. They've been playing great. I know they beat the Rangers,
you're not laying $2. You're going puck line.
I'm not laying $2. And to me, it's probably the over Buffalo because Buffalo, eventually they're going to win a damn game. And the fans, they are going to turn on these guys. I'm telling you, I don't like this sked at all. I'm sorry, people. We're doing the best we can here. I'm looking at this stuff going, these games suck. They're horrible, horrible games. Over. That's what I would look at.
Yeah, I'd say over. I agree. The by the way, just to let you know, as horrific as this has been, this is the first matchup of the year between Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and the Sabres have yet to play Boston. So as big a disaster as this has been, they've got 16 games left with Boston and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
All right, speaking of the Bruins.
What do you do with the next game? The Rangers have been sucking rocks, and Boston, they haven't been playing their best hockey either. They're benching guys, It seems that Cassidy's starting to call out people on this team, and but the thing is, I don't have faith in the Rangers as a dog. They've been playing like junk.
They played 2 games previously, Cam, February 10th and 12th at Madison Square Garden, 3-2 and 1-0. Neither game even never sniffed the total.
Yeah. Oh, God, I don't know.
I don't like it either. I don't like this either. And honestly, what do folks? Here's the thing.
We're trying to give you advice to bet.
Our hearts
are going to bet our own money on this.
Thank you.
We don't want to give you bad advice.
Our hearts are in the right place.
Yes, it is. We're not just going to throw things out there.
Honestly, we could just sit here and go, oh, yeah, blah, 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 and then whatever happens. But
I got one for you. If Demko stands on his head, okay, if Demko stands on his head and Vancouver beats Montreal again, I will be all in with Montreal against Calgary, and that's a pick-em. That's one thing that I definitely will like, and I'd probably go on the over in that game. That's something that I'm looking at. And I like Dallas again against Chicago. I think this team's going to put something together, Brian. What is it, $1.45, $1.50? It's a little bit too much. That's the thing about Chicago. They're a great story right now, but I'm going to be honest, this is a really hard board. You want to take Detroit. They almost, plus 1.5 against Tampa Bay. Are they going to sneak one and actually get a win against these guys? Or is Tampa Bay going to blow them out?
Here's what I would say to you. You think Nashville's phony, right?
I do.
Okay, you think Columbus is pretty phony?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, the Blackhawks been a nice story, but second half of the season, you trust them?
No,
okay.
Not at all.
So here's the deal. Dallas is 10 points behind the Blackhawks, and they have 6 games in hand. Wouldn't Dallas look at this game like a playoff game? Like, we cannot let them get any further ahead.
And I tell you one thing, though, Brian. I looked at Dallas that game before, and it wasn't just Subban in net. Dallas killed them, and that was my favorite game. If Boston just did their damn job and beat the Islanders instead of losing in a shootout, we could have had a real party. But here's the thing. I don't think Dallas is going to slow down either. The price is not great, but I like the Dallas Stars in this spot. I agree with you. They have to understand, because of the COVID situation and the power outage, they need points, and they beat teams in regulation. I like Dallas there.
All right, let's go to Friday. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. And Vegas is at St. Louis. First game of a new set with the two teams. Vegas got absolutely murdered by Minnesota in what turned out to be a 4-3 game. That game
was on Minnesota in both games, buddy.
Minnesota should have won that game. They should have been up by 7. Fleury was so good. They pulled Fleury in the game 4-1, said enough. He's getting no support. They brought the backup in. Vegas woke up and threw the sink at him and should have tied it. But now, here's Fleury. He's been playing forever, and he's playing great. But no Pietrangelo, who's back in Vegas. We told you about that the other day. Did I not remember the morning? I told you we're waiting to hear the word.
Yeah.
I told you about Pietrangelo. Well, they just said game time decision. It was a bunch of hooey. They were just buying time for the taxi squad and not making a roster move. Sure enough, Cam, they sent him back to Vegas for further evaluation. Well, wait a minute. That would be Pietrangelo going back to St. Louis for the first time ever. You think this guy didn't want to be there? They're not sending him back to Vegas if he's got a bruise. They're sending him back because it's broke. And then further evaluation means is, how bad is it broke? Might he need surgery? I mean, we're dumb, but we ain't stupid, buddy. This ain't my first rodeo.
No, it's not your first rodeo. And I'll tell you one thing, Vegas losing 2 games to Minnesota, I wouldn't want to be the St. Louis Blues. This team, they're not going to be screwing around. I know they got injuries. St. Louis has been playing better hockey, Brian, but don't you take Vegas in this spot? I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights can lose 3 games in a row. They can, but I think
what I will say. I would say this. I think it's high scoring, and I think yes, it's Vegas.
I agree with that.
And what I will tell you, buddy, I will say yes because it's an angle we can't not play. We're going to get to it, but on Saturday, you got to play St. Louis because it's the last game of a 6-game road trip for Vegas, and they're going to want to get out of there.
Exactly. So we got to remember that one. But this one, I think Vegas understands, hey, we're not at the end of the road trip yet. We're starting things off.
And they don't want a 3-game losing streak.
Exactly. And, hey, no offense to St. Louis. They can win this game. I'm telling you, guys, we've been doing this hockey podcast for a long time. I've never seen a tougher stretch of games going into this thing. And it's getting harder because we're in the middle of the season and we're seeing the same damn teams all the time. And it's just really hard just to go, but I'm going to go win here, lose here. It's not really happening like that, right, Brian? Like we took 2 back-to-back unders in the Montreal game because we saw something with Demko. And that's the thing. You have to look at your strategies and adjust. I lean Vegas. I'll probably bet it, but I wish I loved it more. As for Ottawa, Edmonton just owns these guys. On Wednesday night, they beat them 7-1. Ottawa has not won 1 game against these guys. Are they ever going to show up against the Oilers, Brian? That's the question.
Well, they just got, but they got smoked. No, they got smoked 7-1. Cam,
I know.
No, there it is.
Now, this is it. This is it.
Right? You get embarrassed. They'll come back as a $2 dog.
I'm gonna get. You know what? See, thank you for reminding me. It's hard because I'm seeing double with this card. Just there's so many things that are just very difficult. But you're right. This is where we take a shot with Ottawa plus 1.5 in some parlays. We'll take the money line. And you're right. The NHL pride thing, it lasts. Edmonton has embarrassed these guys. Ottawa is going to throw the kitchen sink at them that game, and we get a huge price. Let's take a shot with Ottawa, Brian. I agree.
All right. Now, as we're taping this, again, we're taping it Wednesday night. About 4 minutes into the third, Arizona is tied 1-1 with Colorado, so we're projected out to Friday. Minnesota gets a couple of wins against Vegas. Cam, the Kakinen kid has won 7 games in a row. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's going to be Kakinen. Normally, right, we'd be sitting there first game, these teams getting together, we'd probably lean. It's first of a 3-game set. Gee whiz. I mean, the Kakinen.
I don't go automatically over. I'll tell you.
No, but the Kakinen's playing good.
I know, and Ranta's playing good for Arizona too, right? So, but he's going to have to carry the load with injuries there. So I would lean under, and I would. The Minnesota Wild, in my opinion, are a great team, but look what the books are doing already. Are they a $2 favorite over Arizona? See, that's the problem.
$1.95.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like they should be $1.60. It's way overpriced, but they've also coming off 2 wins over Vegas. I don't know, man. Arizona's playing Colorado pretty damn tough.
You want another one that's hard? Yeah, honestly, is Colorado. We love Colorado.
No, I don't love Colorado. They're becoming enemies of mine.
They're in a funk. They're not. I mean, they're just kind of up and down, in and out. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm putting them in parlays, and I'm going, wow, look at Colorado. I went 3 out of 4 on my parlay again. Like you could come back to them tonight. It's not easy. They score the first goal. They let Arizona back in the game. No, I'm not impressed with Colorado at all. They will take care of business against LA. I don't know what LA is doing. You heard the story with the COVID situation with the goaltender. So they had a kid called up from the American League. He hasn't played in 6 years in that first game against Anaheim. And it's funny. I didn't change my pick from the Kings. It's not over yet, but they're up 3-1, Brian. What do people do when a goaltender comes in or a Zamboni driver comes in? And you play for him. It's not just obvious, we're going to bet against these guys. It's actually the opposite. But after this game, this is the problem. Letdown spot. And I'll tell you, Colorado's not playing well. This might be the game where they beat Los Angeles like 6-1 and just kick the living crap out of them. I don't like minus 235, but this might be one of your minus 1.5 plays. Like Colorado's got to figure it out eventually. Very unimpressive.
As we're taping this, end of 2, I don't like my chances. I've got the under 5.5 in the Kings-Ducks game. It's 3-1 after 2. Hopefully the Kings pack it in, and I only got to dodge 1 empty netter, but I don't like my chances. But that being said, when we get to the next game on the proverbial docket, my friend, I think you look at San Jose and Anaheim, I'd be playing that game over.
I agree with that. I think, and that's what I told you, Brian. We had a disagreement. I was actually right for a change. You're usually right. I told you, you go, what about the under in this Anaheim Kings game? They flew way over the number. Like, it just seems like they're playing a different style of hockey right now, and San Jose doesn't know how to play defense. So I could see a 5-4 type of game. I like the over too. Lean to SJ Sharkey with the over.
All right, here we go. Oh boy, Saturday, loads of games. Rangers, Boston, 10 a.m. The day games, Cam, over. Just sight unseen, over.
Yep.
Dallas, Columbus. Let's see what happens with the Dallas game against Chicago. It looks like they just squeezed that into the schedule. Remember, Dallas missed all those games.
God,
I think
Pittsburgh, Buffalo again. Oh, geez, and the Nashville and Tampa Bay. Look at these games.
I know, man. It's these are games that a lot of it is pending the result. We're right back in the boat we were last week.
Yeah, we are.
And I ain't around this weekend, so.
Yeah, I get it. So you guys, we'll do the best we can for it. Just initial leans. I'm looking at Tampa Bay in a new series against the Predators. I got to be honest with you. Tampa Bay is probably going to take a night off soon. I'm not sure if it's going to be then. Calgary and Montreal should be high-flying hockey. The Flames don't. The thing is, Montreal, when they play Vancouver, I see more of a tight game with Calgary. Calgary plays like pond hockey style. I think we can get over. The Devils and Islanders, very tough game. Washington and Philly. Philly better figure it out soon. You might have to go over in all their games.
I'm wondering.
They're getting no goaltending.
Yeah, I'm wondering if over is absolutely the way to go in that game. Might be one of the better opportunities.
So we're looking at, guys. We're looking at this game, and me and Brian, it's very hard to project into Saturday when we're basically talking Thursday, Friday. But I would look at the card, and I think the Butcher might be getting a call. It seems like a salami big sandwich type of night, because I'm looking at even the Sharks, Ducks, that type of thing. I think overs might be the play.
All right, Pally, you know what? But the one, we mentioned it on earlier because we thought it's weird. We thought the last game would impact the first game, maybe reverse psychology. Vegas at St. Louis. Vegas, it's their last game of a 6-game road trip.
Yes.
They've been beat up a little bit, and Fleury's been playing a lot. I can't see any way they let the kid Logan Thompson play. So it's going to be Fleury, probably, whether we don't even know now if we got the break of a lifetime and it was the Husso guy. If they put it this way, if the Husso guy's playing for St. Louis, whenever he's playing, if he's playing one of these two games, go over.
Yep.
That's automatic, right?
Yep.
And then, but Vegas, the last game of the long road trip, believe me, their head is on the bus that's, waiting outside the locker room to take him to the airport. That's just everybody's fallen prone to this.
Yep, and it's been one of the best trends, Brian. Let's be honest, it's hard. It's really hard to cap these things in advance, and we're doing the best we can here. But opinions change too. Like we and you wake up some days and we text each other and go, you know what? I'm starting to think this, or I'm starting to think that. So we can give you what we kind of lean at, but looking three days ahead is a very difficult thing to do. But Brian, I think that is the best angle that we've talked about. Team already, suitcases packed, ready to go, just wanting to get home. That's the best angle.
All right, the one thing, talk about a really good game at the moment when we're taping this. Edmonton and Winnipeg, they're both on a little Tootsie roll, having won 3 in a row. But who they've been beating? I mean, Edmonton lights up Ottawa, right? Vancouver's played hard-fought, low-scoring games against decent teams, Toronto and Montreal. I'm telling you, for the next week, at least a week to 10 days, I am riding the Thatcher Demko bubble run. I mean, I watched him in the bubble against Vegas. Vegas was life and death to get by the Canucks in the playoffs because they needed a BB gun to beat the guy. He's playing like that right now. I'd say under in the Edmonton-Vancouver game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And everyone thinks just Edmonton's going to score those games. And I think Vancouver, it's kind of like, know what it is, Brian? Remember when the Leafs had that stretch where every game was under because they were really trying to play that style? Vancouver and Travis Green have been talking about it. They seem to be that way too. It's like, listen, Demko's on fire. We don't need to get into a shooting contest with these teams. We'll be happy winning a 2-1, 3-2 type of game, right? And it's working for these guys. So I agree with you 100%.
All right, and then let's take a little peek at Sunday. These weird afternoon games. We got a boatload of them. Arizona, Minnesota. Oh boy! I mean, the kid. One of these. You got to think one of these games. One of these games, Talbot's probably going to pop in there for Minnesota. If Talbot pops in there, maybe that's an over game.
I agree with that. Cam Talbot's a goaltender. He hasn't really figured it out. He's a backup for a reason, but I agree. I think if he comes in, sometimes you play the under with the backups, like it's worked with McElhaney, but they're Tampa Bay. It's been different. Cam Talbot, since his days in Calgary, he hasn't been really solid. I would look to the over in that game too. I'm going to tell you too, this Sunday, March 14th game, if Carolina keeps on winning, this is the game where they can get bitten by a dangerous snake, being Detroit. Don't ride out Detroit's one of those teams, guys. I'll tell you, they find ways to win when you these stupid, they've been good on Sundays and games where everyone's like, I'll put the extra game in with Carolina and parlays. They're a sneaky, dangerous team, Brian. They almost beat Tampa Bay again. They compete. They're not a joke. You know what I mean? They lose games, but they lose heartbreakers, maybe plus 1.5 with these guys.
It didn't work for us the other day, Cam, but I mean, like you said, you lost it in a shootout. But you got Boston and Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh comes off a couple of Buffalo fests.
Well, yeah.
And then they got to play Boston.
Let's just say this, Brian. I'll play it exactly the way you want me to play it. But if they lose in a shootout after the Sabres game theory again, you could throw that theory and put it in your pipe and smoke it and throw it into the river because I'm done with it. But anyway, you're right.
Yeah, but I mean,
by the way,
Yeah, but by the way, I mean, it was Boston losing on the island in a shootout. It wasn't like it was dead wrong. It was a coin flip. I know, Cameron. It is. You're right, Pally. It's a bottom line dealio.
It is a bottom line deal, and that's why you get frustrated. The fact that we're still upgraded, I can't believe it. I'm going through my records, going, man, on fire, and shootout loss, overtime loss, still plus nights.
Far ahead.
Eventually, if it turns my way, Brian, lights out, man. I'm going to be. I'll tell you.
Hey, by the way, this is how stupid this is because we go so far in advance. Is that game's Monday?
Which one?
The Boston-Pittsburgh game.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was.
That's all I'll remind you, buddy. Here, we're wrapping this thing up.
You're right. It's not even on Sunday.
We're getting delirious. No, Toronto, Ottawa, over. Merry Christmas.
I agree.
Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing. And if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.